Hello, my name is Zach Goodrich, and this is my EDL 856 Module 10 case study narrative, a new role for the parents organization. As principal, I was fairly concerned about the newly formed parent organization as it started without the proper communication with the school board, administration, and the superintendent or myself. One area that they decided to move away from was their discontinued affiliation with the PTA, and that is an area where we find appropriate relationship with our parents and taking advantage of the positive force in our education system and somewhere where we could always depend on. The group desires to function as an independent, which is something that we do want our parents involved, but in a way that is going to benefit our students' well-being. There had been considerable discussion about the parent participation and community involvement. One area in the case study was that they were unhappy with their lack of involvement, and so those are some areas and facts that we'd want to discuss. The PTA previously would plan the parent-staff picnic, initiate parent-teacher conferences, and help with bond referendum. Again, areas that we would feel parents' involvement would be helpful to new families and connecting also with our staff and our teachers in different ways, but also trying to improve our building and other elements at our school. One area that they suggested change was the back to school night. They mentioned that they would walk away more confused than familiarizing themselves with the school and the educational process. And then also the parent teacher conferences, trying to develop nights where they could have two subjects per week for our teachers, and something that as a principal, we want to make sure that our teachers are taken care of, as they are the backbone of our buildings. Other areas where parent organization want to become more involved with decision and policy making process. That one would be discussed at our higher level of administration, with our school board, but also involving our superintendent and principals, who would fall in line if there was something to happen. Uh, they established parent committees. Some of those parent committees were for discipline, teacher performances, curriculum, and the total school evaluation. And those meetings would take place throughout the year. Some legal and ethical issues. Was anyone from the case study harmed by the action or decision of another, or if so, in what ways? I don't believe any legal legal issues were mentioned in the case, but there was an unawareness that the meetings were taking place, and so that would have been harmful to any decisions making by the principal or administration. There's conflict of interest from parents groups. What is the angle they want to approach the new suggestions that they are making for the parent group? The increased school budget for the request of uh, the parent teacher conferences and the extra respective nights for the teachers to present different things that the parents are asking, and the relationship tension between the administration and parents is something that we are aware of. And did the actions taken in the case study contravene any existing laws? Again, no. Not anything was mentioned in the case study. The conflict between the principal and the parent organization, as myself, is one that we want to make sure continues a healthy existing relationship. And then the parent organization did not involve school administration, was an area that, again, we want to make sure the ethical approach to these suggestions are handled well. And then FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, is something that we want to consider when allowing these organizations to make suggestions or have more input. The synthesis: a new parent organization would like to have more input on the school decision making process without going through the proper channels. We want parent involvement. We think it's necessary to gain insight not only to their students but also to enhance our community, and that would allow us to only give our educational experience to our students one that would be uh, exceptional, phenomenal, are the areas that we want to continue to land on. And so that would be my takeaway from the case study. Some missing facts. The people, again, would be the lack of communication between the administration and the parents of the organization. Who was the first contact? Obviously, me being the principal, kind of surprised by the new organization. Superintendent and school board involvement. Were they involved in the meetings prior to this conversation between the president of the organization and the principal? The parent organization bylaws. Who's governing the new organization? And communication with current teachers and staff. Were there any communication between the new parent organization and our teachers? That is an area that we consider very strong when we make decisions as our teachers and our staff. Places. Where and when have the parent organization meetings been taking place? Were they on school property? And who was all involved? And then who's allowed to be members of this organization? Is it alumni parents? Is it middle school, elementary, high school parents? And so those things we want to make sure, as not mentioned in the case study, we want to address. In the program, we'd want to know the reasoning for leaving the PTA. Was there a benefit to leaving the PTA? Who and what will regulate the parent organization? These decisions and outcomes have consequences, and who does the consequence fall on? And as myself being principal, we want to make the right decisions for our students, but also for our school. How will the organization use and share the data with all the stakeholders of the school that they plan on collecting? And those are things that we, again, putting the puzzle pieces together and not making any assumptions is an area that we just want to gain all the facts. Review and prioritize the information. Helping our parents understand the chain of command. We definitely want input, and we consider all input valuable. Is it going to lead to any changes? We'll consider them. But understanding the school board and the superintendent need to be involved. Having a lack of communication and collaboration is one area that we want to make sure we improve on, because these suggestions come with a heavy responsibility for our school, but also our teachers and staff, of involving all stakeholders. Are we involving our teachers? Are we involving our staff? Are we involving our community? And communicating the legal guidelines that need to be addressed. What group of parents are involved in a PTA? Are these parents are they involved in parent-teacher conferences? Do they come and see our teachers during these parent-teacher conferences? How to create a positive working relationship with a new organization without upsetting the educational program of the school. So those are things that we would prioritize and work on to making some of these needs and suggestions for these parents and meeting those needs. Plan to handle the situation. First, listen to the parent organization. Allow them to understand that their input is valued, and we want to know where we can help them improve their students' experience at our school. And our main question would be from the parent organization is, what is their main objective? The student success is the number one priority from our end, and what is it's not a single child, it's the entire student body. And so those are areas that we would try to discuss. We would request the parent organization's bylaws. Again, who's governing this new organization? Who has the final say for them? And how long can the president of the new organization be in that position? Things of that manner are things that we want to, again, address and kind of get the details of. We want to share the school policies and educational structure with the parent organization, allow them to see, again, how that communication method works on suggesting new policies, but also, again, how do we evaluate our teachers? Who has the right to evaluate our teachers? Collaborate with teachers and all stakeholders to gain insight of parental involvement. Again, are these parents in the organization, the parents that are involved in parent-teacher conferences? How many have they been present at? And during our meetings to improve the school, are they there? Are they present? Or was this a new group that wanted to just be involved to make decisions, but without being in the trenches? And again, we want to work together with the parent organization. We want to work together with their teachers and staff to design surveys to collect this data and opinions to improve this need that's being addressed. Evaluating our plan. Again, establishing an understanding of school leadership roles and organization roles. We all have our roles and we all have our responsibilities, and our organization roles are to enhance our student experiences, but also, again, familiarize our parents with the educational process. Our leadership roles are to make uh, educated decisions to improve our staff and our teachers, our programs, and giving our students the best opportunity to succeed. The parent organization will be more involved after understanding where they best can serve the school. That's another area that we, again, after evaluating our plan, is where they understand that this is a good place for them to be, and hopefully they just embrace a role where they can give suggestions, and again, those suggestions will be valued and considered. And then finally, intentionally communicating to all stakeholders the responsibilities we all share to benefit the students' current and future success in the educational school building. Develop and reflect on a plan. Listen and understand the new parent organization perspective. I think as parents of their students, of our students, it is one that they do know their students best, and that insight to us is beneficial, and we want to elevate their opportunity to learn. And again continuing to put in place this plan, we put firm guidelines on these communications and meetings. Communicating certain items are not negotiable. That could be policies. Our school board puts a policy in place. Our superintendent implements those policies. We definitely, again, are in this business to take suggestions, as we don't have all the answers, but we want to make the best environment for our students, and that one comes from a mindset of student first, and for us, just communicating that with our organizations and our parent organizations, what is negotiable and what is not negotiable. Parent involvement is good for the school and building the school building, and should value the opportunity to enhance it. We want to enhance our parent involvement because it opens up our door to opens our door to the community, and those elements of community being invested in our school will allow us to, again, gain valuable insight of what we can do better. And those are areas where we desire parent involvement in the appropriate way. Collaborate with all stakeholders and find common concerns and issues that can be addressed as a school unit. We are a team, and that team goes from our school board to our administrators to our parents, our students, and our community. How would we implementation of this? We had brainstorm. We'll include our parents and our parent organizations, teachers, community, student, and administration, and also those that alumni that have been at our school. We would make sure those discussions are student focused, and how can we best benefit their educational experience. We would review those ideas and plans and that come from those meetings, and then when we come up with that plan, we'll unveil those plans and record detailed data, again, to make sure we're taking away the necessary actions that need to take place. Choosing a path, we'll always have an open door policy, because we want to communicate with all the stakeholders to gain insight to all available information needed to make sound decisions. I believe from that standpoint, parents' input, teacher and staff input, community input is valuable, and that would allow us to make a decision that could best serve our students. What may happen? There could be a group of upset parents, and with social media today, that upset and disgruntled parent or group can let that information out and spread like wildfire. And so we'd have to address that. If the whole situation could be a complete misunderstanding of the process of starting a new organization and what the organization's capabilities are. And so just the ability to over communicate would be something that we would try to do. Who needs to know? All stakeholders would need to know: administration, teachers, staff, parents of students, community members, and students themselves. Can a principal deal with this alone? Absolutely not. And I don't think it would be wise to attempt to do it alone. We would seek advice from our current administration, school board, but also administrators that have maybe been through a similar situation would be something to consider. This wouldn't be the first time, and it won't be the last time of parent involvement or organizations wanting to be in more involved in a greater role of decision making at a school. And again, communicate with teachers to gain better insight. Again, as we mentioned, with how much are these parents involved already from parent teacher conference standpoint, and it's one that you'd always just seek wisdom before making a final decision. What to do if the plan does not work? You always focus on a plan B and have one ready, but you would focus on areas that fell short or struggled to reach a certain disgruntled stakeholders. Take a different approach, but continue to stay true to the school's core values and vision for its educational school program. And again, the number one priority for decisions always falls back to, is it going to benefit the students and help them find success? Here is my references. I appreciate you listening to my case study, and thank you for your time.